This is Autoline Daily reporting on the global automotive industry. Hi, I'm Sean McElroy. It's February 18th of 2019. Now let's get to the news. Well, you may already know this by now because the news was announced last Friday after we came out with Autoline Daily. But Amazon and others are going to invest $700 million in Rivian. That's a lot of money because remember, Rivian got to where it is right now with an investment of $450 million. So imagine what it can do with a much bigger pile of cash. And we're still waiting to see if GM is going to invest in the electric startup. A lot of people have wondered why GM would make this investment, and here's our Autoline insight. Chevrolet has been massively unsuccessful trying to sell hybrid or electric cars. As good as the Volt and Bolt are, they've been sales flops, and Chevrolet truck owners couldn't give a rip about electric pickups. So, if GM does invest in Rivian, we believe Rivian could get access to GM's parts bin. That would give GM more manufacturing scale with its EV skateboard and the parts and components specific to EVs. Remember, GM promised its EVs would be profitable in a few years, and this could help them achieve that. Toyota introduced a new version of its Hiace van, which is well known in markets around the world. Two body types are available, a standard roof and a high roof. There are different seating configurations with the capacity to carry up to 17 passengers. A cargo version is available, but the van is mostly designed for people. It's powered by either a 2.8-liter diesel or 3.5-liter gasoline engine. It will initially launch in the Philippines and then roll out to other markets afterwards. Interestingly, Toyota will continue selling the current model in Japan as is due to market differences. Soon, the only convertibles you can buy from General Motors will be the Chevrolet Corvette and Camaro. Buick announced it's dropping the Cascada, and no one should be surprised. Opel, which is now a part of Peugeot, killed off its version of the car late last year, and since it went on sale in the US in 2016, only 17,000 Cascadas were sold. Production of the LaCrosse is also scheduled to end next month, so that would leave the Regal as the only Buick passenger car currently planned for 2020. But the Regal is also shared with Opel, so it's only a matter of time before it goes away as well. GMC is updating the Acadia for the 2020 model year, and as you can see, it's bringing the styling more in line with the all-new Sierra pickup truck. Note the C-shaped lighting signature and extensions at the lower corners of the grille. A new AT4 trim is also available with a more off-road inspired design. While a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder and 3.6-liter V6 engine are still offered, a turbocharged 2-liter is now standard on SLT and Denali models. GMC estimates horsepower at 230 and torque at nearly 260 pound-feet. A 9-speed automatic transmission replaces a 6-speed as standard for all engines. The 2020 GMC Acadia goes on sale this fall. GM is going to close its assembly plants in Oshawa, Canada, and while that sparked big protests, the workers are not exactly being left out in the cold. They are going to get lump sum payouts of $50,000 to $60,000 per person, a voucher to buy a new car, extended benefits, free classes at local community colleges to get training for a new job, and they get a full pension. Understandably, those workers are furious that GM is closing their plant, and they believe they're losing their jobs because GM is expanding production in Mexico. The Canadian union Unifor is calling for a boycott of all GM vehicles made in Mexico, pointing out that if the VIN starts with the number 3, that vehicle is made in Mexico. But GM has a long history in Mexico. It began selling cars there in 1921 and began manufacturing vehicles there in 1937. The Commerce Department sent its report to President Trump last night about its investigation into whether imported vehicles pose a national security threat and if tariffs should be slapped on imported cars. The report isn't public yet, But that didn't stop car dealers from blasting it. The American International Automobile Dealers Association says tariffs will cost jobs and lead to price increases. The Center for Automotive Research released a report saying that a 25% import tariff will cost nearly 367,000 jobs, boost prices by an average of $2,700, and reduce new car sales by 1.3 million units. Auto dealers by and large support the president, but that won't be the case if he follows through on the tariffs. President Trump has 90 days to act on the recommendations of the report. Here's our Autoline insight. We think he's going to slap on those tariffs.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems, advanced materials that deliver better results. And by ExxonMobil.
There's a perception that the all-new Cadillac XT6 is just a rebadged version of the Enclave or Chevrolet Traverse, but it's actually quite different. And on last week's Autoline After Hours, we were joined by John Plonka, the chief engineer of the XT6, and he explained the different changes that they made to the Cadillac.
There's some shared componentry, but really this is a unique entry within the crossover portfolio for GM. It's a similar wheelbase to the XT5, but it's a wider track, and so that gives us the better proportions. This stance that it has, a presence that's almost Escalade-ish, but not quite in the same scale. So some similar underpinnings to the XT5.
But following up on that, I mean, you can take an Acadia Denali version, which is very, very nice. Mm-hmm. Other than the exterior styling, which is obviously Cadillac, what else about it makes it uniquely Cadillac, mm-hmm. that appeals to a true luxury buyer as opposed to somebody who's a mainstream buyer who wants a lot of luxury? Yeah,
well, it starts with the suspension, so we work ground up, right? The suspension is unique. It's a different suspension system from the Acadia, similar in architecture, but unique components. It's a wider track than the Acadia, so it's a larger vehicle, slightly larger package. From a body structure standpoint, it's actually a larger exterior, both in width and in height. And then from a technology standpoint, what we're moving forward with at Cadillac is a host of standard safety features. Some of the things that in the past may have been optional, we've brought them all the way down and they're now standard content. Popular safety features like lane keep assist, side blind zone alert, rear cross traffic alert, you'll find that in every Cadillac XT6.
And for a deeper dive into the all-new XT6, you can watch that entire discussion right now on our website, autoline.tv, or you can find it on our YouTube channel. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and please join us again tomorrow.